What if I told you Chantel Christie's so-called fairy tale marriage might be seconds away from collapse, and the truth behind it is way darker than the headlines? The cameras stopped rolling, but that's when the real drama began. Chantel Christie's marriage is crumbling, and the reasons will shock you. Everyone thought Chantel Christie had finally found her happy ending, until whispers of betrayal and divorce turned her life upside down. Insiders say Chantel Christie's husband is done, mentally drained and ready to walk away. But is she really the problem, or is there more to this story? Forget the TV drama this time. Chantel Christie's chaos is real. And what's happening behind closed doors could end her marriage for good. When the cameras turned off, nobody saw this coming. Chantel Christie, daughter of Basketball Wives stars Doug and Jackie Christie, has suddenly found herself in the middle of a marriage crisis that has fans buzzing. Insiders say her husband may have reached his breaking point, and now the word divorce is louder than ever. But here's the real question. Is Chantel truly the cause of the trouble, or is there more to this story than anyone realizes? What we've uncovered paints a much more complicated picture than the headlines suggest. Chantel Christie's name has always been linked to TV drama, but this time, the chaos isn't scripted, it's personal. Lately, whispers of a crumbling marriage have taken the spotlight. The man who once seemed to be Chantel Christie's biggest supporter is now reportedly tired of the non-stop tension that comes with her lifestyle. What began as a seemingly solid partnership is now clouded by gossip, rumors, and speculation about whether divorce is around the corner. Social media has become a buzzing stage for debates, with fans split on who is to blame and what really went wrong. In this breakdown, we'll walk through the cracks in Chantel Christie's marriage, the red flags many overlooked, and why insiders believe her husband may be closer than ever to walking away. At first glance, the couple's love story looked like something out of a modern fairy tale. Chantel, the outspoken daughter of NBA veteran Doug Christie and reality TV firebrand Jackie Christie, had grown up in the spotlight. For years, viewers watched her play a role in her mother's chaotic Basketball Wives storylines. But when Chantel introduced the world to her husband, fans believed this was her fresh start. Here was a man who seemed calm, grounded, and uninterested in the glitz and chaos of reality television. To many, he looked like the perfect balance to her fiery personality. For a while, that image held true. Social media posts showed the two smiling at events, traveling together, and celebrating milestones. Supporters praised the relationship as proof that Chantel could rise above her family's drama-filled reputation. Yet behind those curated images, insiders claim the story was far less picture-perfect. One of the earliest signs of tension was the clash in their lifestyles. Chantel thrived on being in the public eye, whether through modeling, music, or social media. She wanted her presence to be seen and felt. Her husband, on the other hand, valued privacy and structure. Friends say he often grew frustrated when personal moments were broadcast online, while Chantel saw sharing her life as simply part of who she was. This difference in priorities slowly created a rift. Financial disagreements reportedly added fuel to the fire. Chantel, ambitious and eager to expand her brand, poured energy into entertainment ventures and personal projects. Her husband, described as more traditional, wanted stability and security. To him, her career moves sometimes looked risky or impractical. To her, his cautious approach felt like a lack of support. That tension, insiders say, became an ongoing cycle of conflict. Fans began noticing subtle changes too. Chantel's once bright, carefree personalities started appearing more defensive and guarded in interviews and posts. It was as if she was constantly bracing for criticism. Those close to her say this guarded energy spilled into her marriage, adding to the strain. Soon after, whispers began surfacing online, rumors that her husband was growing tired of the drama. That phrase spread quickly, repeated across gossip blogs and social media threads. Meanwhile, Chantel's own social media activity only deepened speculation. Posts that once celebrated her husband grew rare, replaced by cryptic captions about betrayal, self-love, and one-sided relationships. One post in particular, a note about being tired of pouring into someone who doesn't pour back, ignited debates. She didn't mention her husband directly, but fans were quick to connect the dots. From there, the rumors snowballed. Gossip outlets published anonymous claims that her husband had confided in friends, admitting he felt trapped in a cycle of arguments and attention-seeking behavior. Other reports suggested the couple had begun living apart for short periods of time. Neither Chantel nor her husband confirmed any of this, but their silence spoke volumes. For a pair once so publicly affectionate, the absence of joint appearances only fueled speculation. Behind the scenes, the picture grew even more complicated. Sources close to Chantel say she often felt unsupported in her ambitions. For someone carrying the weight of the Christie family name, with all the scrutiny that comes with it, a lack of encouragement from her partner felt suffocating. At the same time, others insist her husband had grown resentful, feeling like their relationship was less about love and more about managing the endless noise of public opinion and family drama. And of course, the Christie legacy loomed large. Jackie Christie, known for her explosive feuds and strong-willed personality on Basketball Wives, has always been a polarizing figure. Supporters argue that anyone marrying into the Christie family should have expected a certain level of drama. Critics, however, believe Chantel was repeating her mother's patterns, bold confrontations, emotional reactions, and a need to control the narrative. Fans, too, remain divided. Some defend Chantel passionately, arguing that she deserves happiness and shouldn't be blamed for simply being herself. They see her as authentic in an industry where so many people hide behind false perfection. Others side with her husband, insisting that no one should be forced to live in the constant storm of Christie family drama. The conversation escalated when reports surfaced claiming her husband felt mentally drained. That phrase stuck, spreading across platforms and resonating with fans who believed it summed up the situation perfectly. Could it be that the very qualities that made Chantel stand out, her boldness, her honesty, her refusal to be silent, were also what strained her marriage the most? Chantel herself has not directly addressed the divorce rumors, but her actions tell their own story. Her recent posts highlight independence, empowerment, and self-worth, signaling that she refuses to carry all the blame. Supporters see this as her way of reclaiming the narrative, while critics view it as further proof of her defiance. One thing is certain, this marriage is no longer a private matter. It has become a public spectacle, with gossip blogs, fan pages, and social media users analyzing every post, every absence, every word. And through it all, the shadow of Jackie Christie lingers. Many wonder if Jackie has once again inserted herself into her daughter's personal life, just as she has done in so many reality TV storylines. So, where does this leave Chantel Christie and her husband? The rumors of divorce are growing louder, and the silence from both sides only adds to the uncertainty. Whether this ends in reconciliation or a permanent split, one fact is clear: the story is bigger than just two people. It's about family legacies, the pressures of fame, and the challenges of balancing love with life in the spotlight. And as more whispers turn into headlines, the world is watching to see how this chapter in Chantel Christie's life will unfold. Before the marriage struggles began, Chantel was already familiar to reality TV fans. Growing up as the daughter of Doug and Jackie Christie, she spent her life under the public eye. Viewers watched her appear on Basketball Wives, often pulled into her mother's fiery arguments and over-the-top drama. But Chantel wanted more than just to live in her parents' shadow. She began carving her own path through modeling, music, and social media. Fans admired her bold personality, confident, outspoken, unafraid to say what others wouldn't. That honesty made her memorable, but it also brought criticism. Some accused her of carrying the same drama energy her mother was known for. Around this time, Chantel's personal life became just as talked about as her TV moments. She met her future husband, a man described as calm, grounded, and the complete opposite of the chaotic TV world she grew up in. For Chantel, he was balance, a steady anchor to her big personality. When their relationship went public, fans were hopeful. Maybe this was her chance to step away from the drama and build a healthier, more private life. For a while, it looked like a success story. The couple shared happy pictures, attended events together, and appeared inseparable. Supporters praised Chantel for finding love outside Hollywood's usual circle, seeing it as proof she was more than just Jackie Christie's daughter. But soon, cracks began to show. Behind the polished Instagram posts, insiders whispered about growing tension. Chantel's strong personality, once a source of admiration, was reportedly straining the relationship. Arguments about lifestyle choices, fame versus privacy, and family involvement started piling up. So, how did a relationship that seemed so solid end up here? Looking back, the warning signs were there all along. Social media painted the image of a perfect marriage, but as fans know, online posts don't always match reality. One major source of friction was Chantel's career. She thrives on attention, Through modeling, music, or online content, she wanted her presence known. Her husband, however, valued privacy. Friends say he grew frustrated with their personal lives being broadcast to the world, while Chantel saw sharing as simply part of who she was. The differences didn't stop there. Observant fans noticed Chantel's posts featuring her husband began to fade. At first, it seemed normal, but insiders suggested something deeper: arguments over boundaries, respect, and priorities. Adding to the strain was Chantel's family dynamic. Jackie Christie, known for her protective but controlling nature, has a long history of inserting herself into her children's lives. Sources claim this sometimes left Chantel's husband feeling overshadowed, as if decisions in their marriage weren't just between husband and wife, but influenced by her family as well. Now, the marriage that once looked picture-perfect is facing its toughest chapter yet. Divorce rumors are swirling, fans are debating, and the truth is becoming harder to hide. What happens next could change everything we thought we knew about Chantel Christie and her future. Money issues reportedly piled onto the stress already building in Chantel Christie's marriage. While she was focused on chasing new projects and keeping her name alive in entertainment, her husband leaned toward a more traditional path. Friends claim he wanted stability and routine, while Chantel was chasing fame and opportunities. That gap in priorities created tension that only grew with time. Fans also began to notice a change in Chantel herself. Once known for her vibrant, carefree personality, she suddenly seemed guarded and defensive in interviews and online posts. It felt like she was constantly shielding herself from unseen critics, and those close to her say that energy seeped directly into her marriage. Then came the rumors. Whispers spread that her husband was fed up with the chaos. "Tired of the drama" became a trending phrase online, repeated in gossip blogs and fan discussions. Some outlets even claimed he had told friends he felt stuck in an endless cycle of arguments and attention-seeking behavior. Chantel never confirmed or denied the talk, but her silence only fueled speculation. The distance became obvious. Couple photos disappeared, solo appearances increased, and Chantel began posting cryptic messages about betrayal and one-sided love. One post in particular caught fire, a note about being tired of pouring into someone who doesn't pour back. She never named names, but most people assumed it was directed at her husband. So, were these just normal bumps in a marriage, or was Chantel quietly warning the public that things were falling apart? That's when the story took a sharp turn, because the most explosive details weren't even public yet. According to insiders, the real breaking point came from emotional exhaustion. Chantel's husband, once admired for his patience, had allegedly reached the end of his rope. The constant spotlight, the pull of her drama-filled family, and the non-stop pressure of social media were too much. Leaks to gossip blogs soon followed. One outlet quoted a source saying, "He's done. He's tired of being second to her fame, her image, and her family." While some dismissed the report as clickbait, the timing was hard to ignore, especially after Chantel posted cryptic quotes about loyalty and respect. Rumors swirled that the two had even spent time living apart. Some claimed he had moved out temporarily. Others said Chantel was the one distancing herself. Neither side addressed it publicly, but their lack of appearances together spoke volumes. For a couple once so affectionate in public, the silence was deafening. Those close to Chantel painted a deeper picture. Some said she felt unsupported in her career and burdened by the weight of her family name. Others argued her husband resented, feeling like their marriage was just another storyline for fans to pick apart. As hashtags like #ChantelDivorce and #ChristieMarriageTrouble began trending, fans split into camps. Some defended Chantel, urging her to leave if she felt disrespected. Others sympathized with her husband, saying anyone tied to the Christie family was destined to live with drama. Then came the most striking claim yet. An insider alleged her husband had confided in friends that he felt mentally drained. That phrase spread quickly, resonating with people who believed it explained the entire situation. Could Chantel's bold personality, the very trait that made her stand out, also be what pushed her marriage to the edge? Chantel herself has remained tight-lipped. No direct comments on divorce, no public statements. But her posts tell their own story: pictures celebrating independence, captions about self-love, and videos where fans swore she looked on the verge of tears. Every image without her husband sparked more debate. By this point, the private struggle had turned into a public spectacle. Blogs, gossip channels, and fan pages covered the story daily. And hovering over it all was the influence of Jackie Christie. People questioned whether Jackie was stepping into her daughter's marriage issues the same way she had inserted herself into countless basketball wives' dramas. One thing was undeniable: Chantel Christie's marriage was no longer just a personal matter. It had become headline news. And with divorce rumors getting louder by the day, many now believe a permanent split is closer than ever. But here's where things take a twist. People close to Chantel claim there's another side to this story, one the public hasn't seen. And if those whispers are true, it could completely change how fans view her role in this collapsing marriage. So far, the narrative online has painted Chantel as the problem, the fiery personality, the family baggage, the constant spotlight. Critics argue these traits are what pushed her husband away. But is that really the full story? Or has Chantel been unfairly made the scapegoat in a marriage where both partners had their struggles? Her supporters say she's always been misunderstood. Yes, she's bold and outspoken, but that's part of what makes her authentic. Unlike many in the entertainment industry who hide behind polished images, Chantel is raw. She speaks her truth, shows her emotions, and doesn't pretend to be perfect. In a world full of filters, some fans find that honesty refreshing. Still, in a marriage, especially with someone who values privacy, her unfiltered style might come across as confrontational or overwhelming. And then there's the weight of the Christie legacy. Growing up with Jackie Christie as your mother means drama follows you, whether you want it to or not. Jackie has always been known for her explosive feuds and controlling ways on basketball wives. For Chantel, shaking that reputation may have been impossible from the start. Some even argue her husband should have expected this when he married into the Christie family. But there's also the question of support. Insiders claim Chantel often felt her husband didn't back her career goals. For someone as driven and ambitious as her, that lack of encouragement could feel suffocating. Instead of celebrating her independence, it seems he saw it as a problem. If that's true, the picture shifts. Chantel may not be the source of the drama, but rather a woman fighting to balance love with ambition, only to feel punished for it. And let's not forget, relationships are rarely one-sided. While Chantel has been branded the dramatic one, insiders say her husband may have played a role too. Words like checked out, distant, and cold have surfaced from those who claim to know them. His gradual withdrawal may have left Chantel feeling isolated, which only intensified her emotional reactions. It became a cycle where neither felt heard. Then there's his silence. Unlike Chantel, who expresses herself openly, her husband has stayed quiet in the face of rumors. He hasn't defended her, hasn't clarified the speculation, and that silence speaks volumes. To Chantel, someone who values communication, that silence could feel like betrayal. Meanwhile, her posts tell their own story, messages about self-love, empowerment, and refusing to accept less than she deserves. Subtle or not, they suggest she isn't willing to take all the blame. That raises the bigger question: is Chantel being criticized because of who she really is, or because the public has been conditioned to see her through the lens of her mother's reality TV drama? For years, the Christie family has been painted as dysfunctional for ratings. Could it be that no matter what Chantel does, she's stuck in that narrative? One thing is clear: the divorce rumors are not as black and white as they seem. And if Chantel ever decides to speak her truth, the story could take a turn no one saw coming. Because while fans argue over who's to blame, insiders whisper about private arguments and hidden moments that may have pushed this marriage beyond repair. If those whispers are true, the issue isn't just emotional distance. It's wounds that may never fully heal.